Okay, looks like I'm live at Twitter. Sorry, X. Live on LinkedIn and live on YouTube. Hey, good afternoon, actually, from Dubai. To my afternoon session. Actually, I tried to start the session early in the morning, but today I was busy, like setting up tech stuff. We haven't found yet like a name for the show. I haven't yet found a proper timing, but I think I will do it before noon Dubai time, so people in Europe and in the UK can watch as well, and it's not getting too late. Okay, awesome. What is new today over the last few days with AI? One of the most important things is, and this has been going on around LinkedIn and Twitter and stuff. Oh no, ChatGPT is stopping legal and medical advice. No, it isn't. There was actually coming from a Reddit post where someone read the updated terms and conditions of OpenAI, and it's true that by October 29th, which was a few days ago, they have changed their terms. And the terms now say that you cannot use them for professional legal advice or medical advice without human oversight, which is practically only saving OpenAI from potential legal exposure, but did not change the model in any way. OpenAI has confirmed that there is no change in the model. A lot of people have looked at the model and the responses, and there's nothing that is out of the ordinary from what we've used to with OpenAI. So yes, one of the big benefits of that, I wouldn't say if it's a hoax, of that misinterpretation, is that for a lot of content creators on LinkedIn, I now know who is just copy pasting stuff without checking the sources, which is everybody who posted that over the last few days. And it's interesting that a lot of times now, like yesterday, people got called out on this is misinformation. They still double down and they still leave the posts on, which is, I find, interesting. Anyway, let's stay with OpenAI. We have very exciting news today. And let me put that on screen. Yes, GPT 5.1 is coming. That is confirmed. That is actually a code snippet from the ChatGPT app that was just released like an hour ago, 2 hours ago on Twitter. Sorry, on X. I still keep saying Twitter. So yes, we have confirmed 5.1. GPT 5.1 is coming. It is a thinking model, so that is nice. If we remember correctly, when OpenAI released GPT-5 back in September, they also have announced that they will do more frequent model updates, and that is the first iteration of that. We are in for a very interesting November and December. So we have GPT 5.1 confirmed coming in. We have Gemini 3 Pro already tested heavily on secret endpoints. That probably will be released in the next week. Maybe 2 weeks, but probably in the next week. For GPT 5.1, we can actually expect the release probably happening today. My ChatGPT macOS app was just updated, and normally that's what they do before they have something newly released. So when they wake up in the US, they normally announce stuff on Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, so maybe we're lucky and we get GPT 5.1 today with a bigger context window. That's what they've told us. Yes, what is still due for an update is Grok from X. We are expecting Grok 4.2, and that should have been released already. So let's see what happens once Google releases Gemini 3, OpenAI releases GPT 5.1, then X has to do something, because otherwise they will be left behind. And we know that with the exponential growth that we're seeing with with large language models in the artificial intelligence space, that you can only be in the back for so long until you're forgotten into oblivion, because everybody else is the hot topic. Claude Code today was down, by the way. We have very exciting news, internal news from our sponsor, which I am myself. We have, and not everybody knows that, so I'm also leading an online community for AI and entrepreneurs. And we are not only the fastest growing online community in the Middle East, we also start a new cohort. And the new cohort will be starting end of November. Applications for that are open, so you can leave a comment below. Let me see if the chat is open. Because it is exclusively for entrepreneurs, leader of small and medium enterprises, because that's where we can give the most value. And I know from my own experience in having a couple of startups how many hats you are wearing. If you are a new founder, if you run a small company, you don't have the time to educate yourself about artificial intelligence, like how I do it. I'm in this space for 10 to 12 hours a day, and sometimes I feel I get left behind. If I'm out on a meeting, if I'm focused on coding something for a couple of hours, I know that I'm missing something, because the speed of innovation is so massive in that space. And really no one who really wants to be relevant next year can afford not upskilling, not learning about the newest models, not learning about the newest applications that are relevant in the space. So that's what we are offering. We have weekly calls, we have daily updates. We tailor-make that for SMEs, entrepreneurs, and startup. So drop me a link, drop me a follow, and I can send you all the relevant information for a new cohort. What we're also doing, and I've seen so many companies paying thousands and thousands of dollars every month for software subscriptions. In 2025, that is not necessary anymore. Especially because you pay for software, then you use, maybe 10%. It's very complicated because it is built for everybody. But you don't need that functionality. You don't need everything that comes with, SAP. You don't need everything that comes with Salesforce, HubSpot, etc. But they charge you for everything, right? Now with vibe coding, you can code with AI, and you don't even need coding skills. I have, and let me switch. I've developed Semantic Pulse, one of my latest startups. I have coded that within a few days. I mean, obviously, you still need to have the idea. We have a patent pending for that technology, but the front end and most part of the back end was vibe coded. I was using Lovable. I was using CLI from Codex. I was using also Claude Code extensively. And I will do an extra session on vibe coding in the next few days. But I was also, everything was done, and we have about 20,000 lines of code in Semantic Pulse for the front end and the back end. All that was done without me writing a single line of code. And I think that is very impressive. That is something that the systems weren't able to do only a couple of months ago. The only problem is, and you see a lot of ads probably from vibe coding software, and they tell you, just one line input and you can copy Netflix within 2 minutes. Well, it's not that easy. It is very easy compared to either paying an expensive developer to do it in a couple of months, or like coding it yourself, which I couldn't do anymore. I used to code back in the day, but not for a long time anymore. But it's not as easy as just putting one sentence in. Recreate Netflix, no mistakes. That's sort of a running joke in the industry. Yes, so we covered GPT 5.1. Very excited about that one. On other news, that was a really exciting product preview, product release, and let's listen into that briefly.
You're close. What lies?
What lies behind us lies before us. I'm never gonna get this line.
Progress isn't linear. Want to try again?
Add flowers to my list. Toilet paper. The L train isn't running this weekend. Write that down. I'm so late. What do I say to the director when I get there?
You've been trying to say, I'm sorry, Liz. How about thank you for your patience?
Add that to my one-liners. Make a log today. I'm drowning. Why'd I get into acting?
So this is, we just turn the volume down a little bit. This is, a way of interacting with an AI. It's sort of a mouse for your finger, for your hand.
What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us.
You got it.
Why do I still feel stuck? Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Sometimes when you're stuck, you've just got to row your boat gently down the...
Well, that was an interesting product demo. So they're selling that in 2026, next year, starting with the US. I think they start at quite a competitive pricing. And then there's a monthly subscription. If you want to have their large language model, and I think you can also bring your own. We have to see about that. Really exciting. In other news, that is something in the scientific community. So we have seen more and more progress in scientific use of artificial intelligence, and obviously one of the biggest concerns there is hallucination. Now, that company was able to train a large language model to reduce hallucination. They are saying that they are able to reproduce 80% of the results that they have, which is quite exciting. The little caveat is that they're going to charge you $200 per run. But then what they're saying is that the artificial intelligence system goes on for like 6 to 8 hours and does research worth about 6 months of research, scientific research, comparing 1,500 different papers, doing a lot of discovery also. And they have discovered 3 new scientific facts. Do you say facts? I don't know. That's for all the people who say AI cannot find something new that wasn't out there yet. AI cannot discover something. They've proven us wrong, I guess. So coming back to vibe coding, we talked about Semantic Pulse already. I just want to talk about the product a little bit. It's something that I'm very excited about. I have released that last week. So what Semantic Pulse actually allows you is to do market research within a couple of minutes and not months. So what I've seen, and I have a lot of ideas, right? So whenever I step out of the shower, I come back with like 10 new ideas. And then you need to validate those ideas. And what are you doing? Normally, you would ask friends and family, because I can pay $20,000 for market research, right? So what you're doing is you ask friends and family, and obviously they always tell you how amazing your idea is, how amazing your new product is. But is it really? And then you get all excited and carried away. You start a new product. You need to spend like enormous amount of money on ads. You need to do A/B testing. I would say that the time you put in is very valuable. And what we've seen now, and latest studies have proven then that with artificial intelligence, you can actually get a 90% accuracy on market research, only spending a fraction of the costs. So Semantic Pulse plans start at $19.99. You get 10 panels a month. You have 200 AI personas per panel. And if you have the plan that most of the beta testers actually went for us, $39.99, you get unlimited analysis. There's a fair use policy, so it has a little bit of a caveat. 600 AI personas per panel, and that already gives you a very good indication. Now, will that replace market research? Of course not. But it allows a new type of entrepreneur to access market research in the first place, someone who doesn't have $20,000 to see if their candle business is going to work potentially, right? For larger companies, it makes sense to test a couple of different variations and then only do like proper market research for like 2 products instead of 10. Very excited to have started this. We already have users signing up. It's a semanticpulse.app, and interested where this journey leads me. What we are currently doing is we have a Shopify native integration app under review. So I hope within the next 5 or 10 days that should be live as well. And then anybody who has a Shopify store can directly link their products, run research panels, and immediately knows maybe they just need to change the descriptions or the images, and then a product has more potential for sales. So that's that. Talking about the vibe coding, I've said that nowadays it doesn't make sense to pay for a lot of subscriptions anymore. For a lot of SaaS business, this is going to be a wake-up call. So what I did, for example, internally, is I have a dashboard called Content AI. And in that dashboard, I just have all the different things that I stumble across. And that is a test version with test data that I stumble across over the day, and I just put them in. I have a shortcut on my iPhone, and then I just send the links into my Content AI, and I can do additional research. I can have information about post statistics, and I can mark that content as hot, and I can also include that into my run-off show for my daily live show, that where we have the 2nd episode now. And I have to pat myself on the shoulder. I'm very proud for doing that. But what I mean is, and again, I coded that myself without understanding or without knowing how to code, because I was using, so for the front end, I'm using a lot of tools like Lovable or Replit, because it's very easy to ideate. The back end, we have Supabase. Sometimes we're using AWS Lambda. We are using other tools for the back end. And what I've seen is that ideation is really good in things like Lovable. But once it gets to performance and optimization and safety, you need to use something like Cloud Code or Codex by OpenAI. But still, it's a very talkative way of developing software now. So you don't necessarily need to know the syntax of a coding language, as long as you know how to phrase what you want. You're there. You also would need an understanding of basic software engineering, but it's something that we teach in our community, by the way. So if you are part of the November cohort, you also have access to wonderful resources for vibe coding, where you don't need to pay thousands of dollars in software anymore, but you can develop it for free. Just a little bit of your time, no monthly subscriptions. Just go there, tell the AI what you need, fine tune it, and you have an internal tool. Or if that is something that you want to offer companies, that is also possible, right? So within 3 weeks, you would learn how to vibe code from A to Z, have GitHub integration, so you have source control, you have version control of your software. You cannot break things. It's a really good program. So last item on the agenda for today, we're already at 18 minutes. We have robotics. There is a very interesting robot that was released yesterday. So I'm gonna show you a quick preview of that one. The Chinese car manufacturer Xpeng, is it pronounced Xpeng? I don't know. They have released it yesterday, and allegedly it's not a guy in a suit or a girl in a suit. In that case, it is something they want to have on the market by 2026. They will not be starting with consumer market, which is interesting, because they said the training for that is quite difficult to work in a household. So they will be using that in factories and in their car showrooms in order to sell their cars. Contrary to the other one, who they have, 1X is another robotics company out of the US. They have released their robot last week. And they take pre-orders, and it's $20,000 US, or you can also rent it for, I think it's $4.99 a month. And again, what they've said is that in the beginning, a lot of it will be teleoperated. Teleoperation for robots is when you have a human manipulating the robot. They are connected through the internet. They have a virtual headset on. They have something for their hands to steer, and they will navigate the robot on their behalf. The reason for that is that this is the quickest way of, here we see that, how that works. Right? Let's go back a second. Yeah, so because that's the easiest way of getting data without the need to have the robots come and train forever until you release it to the open. I know that NVIDIA actually has a system where you can train robots in virtual reality. But I've also read studies about how to transition from the virtual training to real-life application isn't as easy. There's this other company, Figure, who have introduced their Figure 3 robot about a month ago. You see how much time flies. Let's just have a brief look at that. Now, what's interesting is, and something that is a recurring topic online and with people I talk to, is that they say, well, why do we need humanoid robots? Why do they have to look like humans, right? But the thing is, the environment they're operating in, either in offices or at home as a personal helper, they are built for humans. So if you have something that has wheels, that's not able to climb the stairs, right? So while sometimes a specialized robot form would be better, I don't think it makes sense to have 3, 4, 5 different specialized robots in your house. And we already have robots like the washing machine, the dishwasher, the microwave and stuff. I mean, that is a tool in and on itself, right? So we don't need another robot that can only load the dishwasher, or we don't need another robot that can only do laundry, right? So you rather have one robot that can do both and that can put away your laptop, as we see here on the screen, and also do the dishes and carry your groceries, right? Robotic is a very interesting topic that has evolved tremendously over the last few months, actually, only. And not to forget about them, there's this other Chinese company, Unitree, who recently released, where is it? Yeah, the H2, another interesting robot. And again, not a man in a suit. Pretty exciting, I would say. Yeah, so I guess that sums up today's session about artificial intelligence and what is new. I'm very excited about OpenAI and their announcement of GPT 5.1. If there is a live stream from OpenAI, I will actually be live streaming and live commentating that here on YouTube, LinkedIn, and on X. And if it's not going to be today, then it will be within the next few days or maximum another week or so, I think. So, all for that. I wish you a happy Thursday, and I'll see you soon.